Hi friends, welcome to the channel Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles. Ashish here, and today I'll be covering a puzzle genre called Choco Banana Puzzle. So today we'll be solving two puzzles, and both of these puzzles are created by Bakpao. Bakpao is really an excellent author, and he has recently started into puzzling community, and he has reached a very good level both as a solver and a setter. He solves really very fast, and setting also is really good at setting puzzles and sudokus. So I really would recommend you to try out his puzzles. So a recent GP contest, puzzle GP, is going on, and Choco Banana puzzle is a puzzle that is featured in the puzzle GP. So I thought of covering a video on this one, and we'll be solving two puzzles. The first one is might be a easier puzzle as said by the author himself, and the second one might be a bit tough. Let's see if we are able to crack these puzzles. So I thank a lot Bakpao for these two puzzles he has given me permission to cover a video on. So before going to the puzzle, I would highly recommend you to please subscribe to the channel Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles if you haven't done so. It will really motivate us to cover videos on regular basis, and if at all you have a request for any Sudoku variant or a puzzle genre, do let us know in the comment below and we'll surely make a video on it. And now coming back to the puzzle, now let me brief you with the rules here. So you need to shade some cells on the board. A group of shaded cells will always form a rectangle or a square, and a group of unshaded cells will never form a rectangle or a square, right? And the number indicates the size of the group it is in, right? So a number can be in the unshaded group or the shaded group, but it will indicate the number of cells it has. I mean to say, the number indicates the number of cells in that group, right? So when you have a group of unshaded cells and another group of unshaded cells with numbers in it, you don't, though both of those cannot overlap, right? They can touch at a corner but cannot overlap. The same thing goes for the shaded cells. Very easy rules. I'll again brief you. You have to shade some cells on the board in such a way that a group of shaded cells will always form a square or a rectangle. A group of unshaded cells will always not form a square or a rectangle, and the number indicates the size of the group that overlaps it, right? So one thing you will always have to keep in mind is, easy thing at the start for this puzzle is 1 and 2 will always be group of shaded cells, because whatever you do, 2 or 1 cannot form a I mean to say cannot be unshaded group, or will always have to form a square or a rectangle, right? So these always will have to be shaded, and two group of shaded cells cannot touch orthogonally, so all of these will have to be unshaded. This 2 and 1 is again shaded, and this is also shaded, right? So this 2 can go down or go towards the right. In both the cases, this will always have to be unshaded. You cannot have a shaded group here, right? Now if you see this, so here the converse rule applies, right? You know that a group of unshaded cell will never form a square or a rectangle. So this unshaded cell will have to extend out to make sure that it doesn't form a square or a rectangle. It was already a square here, right? You have to take it out. It is still forming a rectangle, so we'll again extend it, but we are not sure where to extend. This one is already done, so this is unshaded. This has to come down to not to form a square or a rectangle, so it will come down. Yeah, so if you see here, this is already formed a L trim, that is of course not a square or a rectangle. So now if you see here, this 3 cannot be unshaded group, because then you will have a group of unshaded cell with 4 cells just having 3 number in it. Not possible. So this would have to be shaded group. Now that we have got 3 as a shaded group, very easy thing, you will have to make it in such a way that it is formed either a square or rectangle. And of course 3 with a square is not possible. It will have to be a rectangle, and there is only one possible way, because it cannot have this way. You will have 2 groups of shaded cells overlapping or maybe adjacent to each other. So this is the only possible way. So all the other cells touching the rectangle or a square will have to be unshaded cells. Now if you see here, the 4 is also fulfilled here already. So I'll form all the. So whenever you fulfill a group of shaded cells or unshaded cells, the cells adjacent to it will have to be of the opposite color, right? So very easy to do that way. When I already formed a 4 here, all the edges, the cells touching the 4 will always have to be the opposite color. Now this is already a rectangle, so if I extend these, it will not form a rectangle, right? This is also a rectangle. Now this also has to extend to not to form a rectangle or a square, right? So that is done, but we cannot close it here. We cannot close it here because this group can still extend. We are not sure of it. There might be groups, so I really forgot to mention that there might be groups that cannot have any number in it, but and it can be how big it is. It can be of any size actually, so it can be of any size. So yeah, we have done till this. Now if you see here, this is unshaded cell, it has to come out, right, because it cannot form a square or a rectangle. Same way, this cannot be an unshaded cell now, because then you will form a square or a rectangle in unshaded group. So this would have to be shaded. This is also shaded, this is unshaded. You will have cells in between, that is unshaded. Now 3 can either form this way or this way, right? We know that 4 can either be shaded or unshaded. Seeing the placement of the 4 at this point, can 4 be shaded? So the moment you shade a 4, how will you form it a rectangle or a square? That is not at all possible, right? So this will always have to be unshaded, whatever be the case, right? 5 will always have to be unshaded, because if it is a shaded, there is only one possible way that 5 can be fulfilled, and that is this way. Of course, it is touching the 2. So this is also unshaded. That shades this cell, unshades both of these cells. Now coming back to 3. Okay, before going to 3, I got a very easy thing to do here is 5 has to have 5 cells at least, not at least, it must have 5 cells. So even if it extends, it has only 4 cells, so 1 cell would have to be here. Now we have already fulfilled the 5 cells, right? This is also unshaded. This has to come out because it doesn't form a square or a rectangle. 3 is done, easy. This also has to come out, not to form a square or a rectangle. This will have to be unshaded here, because 2 either goes up or towards the right. It will always have to be unshaded. Now this has to be unshaded for the group of unshaded cells to come out. So this is shaded, these are unshaded. Can 5 be a square or a rectangle? Of course, square is not possible, it is only a rectangle. But can you form a rectangle with a 5 now? Not possible, right? You don't have enough space for the rectangle to be formed. So this would have to be unshaded, and then you already have 5 fulfilled here. This is unshaded, this is unshaded. Can 3 be shaded? Of course not possible, this would have to be unshaded. So this is a shaded cell, because to differentiate between shaded and unshaded cells at the edge. So all of these are unshaded. This unshaded would have to be extended here. This is shaded and this is unshaded here. Nice. This is also unshaded, so 3 is done. This is unshaded, and the unshaded would have to come out. Here also it would have to come out. Five cannot be shaded, of course. Very easy to see, but you just have to look how it actually contradicts. So if 5 is shaded, there is only one way it can form a rectangle, and then 6 will be too big, right? Easy to see that way. So this is unshaded. Can 6 be shaded? Okay, same way. There is only one possible way that 6 can be shaded, and if you do that, 3 gets contradicted, too big for that 3 group, right? So this is also unshaded. You have these two as shaded here now. For the 5 to reach here, you'll have to have this cell as shaded at least. This unshaded group of cells cannot join with the 6 because it will be too big. It will come down. Okay. It cannot join here because then again it will be too big. So 6 has only one way now. This would have to be shaded. This is unshaded. 3 cannot be shaded. It has to be unshaded. All of these would have to, no. Oh yeah, that's nice. So this cannot be unshaded now, because if 4 is unshaded, it will go out and mix with the 3. So this is a shaded group. This is unshaded now. And with that we solve the puzzle here, right? Easy. That was a good puzzle here. Very nice puzzle by Bakpao. So yeah, we are able to solve the first puzzle, a easy one. Let us go with the second puzzle. Now I hope you understood how to actually solve a Choco Banana puzzle in a simple way. There weren't many tricky steps in that puzzle, but we got to know something on how to actually approach this puzzle type, right? Now let's go with the second puzzle here. This seems to be a tough one because there are no 1 and 2's here. We started the earlier puzzle with 1 and 2's and they were diagonally touching each other, so we could extend the unshaded cells not to form square and rectangle, and then the puzzle was very smooth. So in this case, let us see what happens here. I know that these three would have to be unshaded because if you have a shaded 3, there is no way you can form a square or a rectangle, so both of these would have to be unshaded, which means both of these would have to be shaded because cells touching the unshaded group will have to be shaded. So 5 is only one possible way, 4 is also one possible way. You get these as unshaded, these as unshaded. Shaded here, easy. I did very fast, I'm sorry. So of course both of these are unshaded groups, both of these would have to be shaded. 3 is fulfilled. Both of these are unshaded different groups, so both of these would have to be shaded again. And why am I shading this? Because if this is unshaded, you will have more than 5 cells in that group. So this has to come out, this has to come out. Okay. This 5 cannot be shaded because, so we know that whenever there are two numbers adjacent to each other, one more good logic that we usually don't see while solving. So that is most important thing, that when there are two adjacent digits, two different digits adjacent to each other, you know that one has to be shaded, one has to be unshaded. So you can just make sure that you look for contradiction when there is something with shaded, because that will be easy for you to look, right? So what happens if one number is shaded? Will that be easy to, will you be able to contradict that thing, or will you be able to form the rectangle or square easily? That way you will have to, you will be able to easily distinguish between those two numbers. So I see that this cannot be shaded. There is no possible way that this cell can be shaded because you do not have enough space for the rectangle to be formed. So this would have to be unshaded. That shades this cell, right? Amazing. And the moment it shades this cell, you cannot form this way. Can you form it this way? No, you cannot form this way as well. That's a nice logic, because this 5 gets contradicted now. It cannot go up neither down, it will have more than 5 cells. So of course it will have to form a square either this way or this way. So this is unshaded now. For any case this would have to be unshaded. It's nice. Okay, let's see some other possible. Can this be shaded? Can be shaded. Okay, for this 5, if this is unshaded, you can still have a group. Okay, that is possible. Oh no, you cannot, because okay, you'll have more than 6 cells in that. That's amazing. So that's a nice logic. If this is unshaded, this will be shaded, and then all of these would have to be unshaded. You already have a contradiction with the 6. So which means this is shaded. Again, can you do that here? No, you'll have more than 6 cells. So this is also shaded, so this is unshaded. Amazing. You'll have 6 cells already. That's an amazing piece of logic here. Okay. Can you have 7 as shaded? There is no way the 7 is possible now. Earlier it was possible, but if you shade the 7, there is no enough space for the 7 to have 7 shaded cells in straight line, because that's the only way it can form a rectangle. So 7 is unshaded, of course. Can 6 be shaded? 6 cannot be shaded. There is only one possible way if 6 is shaded, so this is unshaded, which means 4 cannot form the square to its right. You will have more than 6 cells in that group. It would have to form the square towards its left. So this is unshaded, unshaded, shaded, unshaded and shaded. Okay, this would have to come down again. This is unshaded, so you will already have formed the things here. This is shaded again. Okay, that's a really good piece of logic here, guys. Seven cannot be shaded because then you will not form a square or rectangle. This 7, so these two numbers are same, they are identical numbers, so this logic can or cannot apply here. It can be any way possible. So here either this 7 can be shaded or unshaded, both are possible, right? If it is unshaded, it will mix with this group. If it is shaded, it will go with the other group. But I can see that it cannot be unshaded, cannot be shaded because you don't have enough space for the rectangle to be formed, right? So of course it would have to be unshaded. This is also unshaded, that is fine. All of these are unshaded. If this is unshaded, fine, okay. You can still form anything here, right? It's possible, so let us not do that. If this is way, it is still possible, right? So let us leave that for now. Let's see something here. If this is a shaded cell, it cannot go up because okay, if this is a shaded cell, there is only two possible ways for the 4 to be completed, either this way or this way, right? But it has to form a square. If it goes down, it's fine for now. It cannot go up because then 5 doesn't have enough space here. What if this is unshaded? This would be shaded. Oh, of course, it cannot be unshaded because the moment it is unshaded, 5 doesn't have enough space. Of course, it gets locked here. So this would have to be shaded. Amazing, this is unshaded. So there is only one way that we have worked out that 4 will work, not this way. It would have to be this way. Amazing. Yeah, I was right. This is unshaded, this is shaded and this is unshaded because they cannot mix here. This is shaded, it will have to go straight. These are unshaded. This will have to come out to not to form a rectangle or a square. You need one more cell here. The same logic that we applied here is being applied here now. This one have to be shaded. If this is unshaded, you'll have more than 6 cells in that group. If this is unshaded, you'll have more than 6 cells in that group. So this would have to be unshaded. You got the 7 as well, 6 as well. Amazing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This cannot be unshaded. It would have to be shaded. 10 cannot be unshaded now. 10 cannot be shaded now. Not at all possible. It would have to be unshaded. These are unshaded. Okay. This is shaded here. We have reached the end of the puzzle. This was amazing puzzle. The way this logic, the logic that worked here, the small blocks were forming here, it was amazing. This is a really an amazing puzzle. I really love this part of this puzzle. Amazing. And even the I would say the start actually gave us the way, the flow, and then the numbers that adjacent to each other will have to be one shaded and unshaded, and that actually gave us the progress. That was amazing. You have 8 cells already, so this cannot be unshaded because then you'll have 11 cells, right? 8 and 3, 11. If this is unshaded, you'll have 8 cells in the 7. It had to work out the other way actually. So this is shaded, this is unshaded, this is shaded, all of these are unshaded. This is also shaded. Of course 6 would have to be unshaded because there is no way it can be shaded. And this has to come out not to form a square or a rectangle. So 6 is done. Okay. Oh no, there's something wrong that I did here. Three, 7. Oh, sorry, I'm extremely sorry. Yeah. Wait just a second. I'm sorry. You had 8 cells. This is the 9th cell. So this is shaded. This would have to be the 10th cell. I really forgot that. And 10th is done. This is done. Come on. At the end I somehow tricked myself that I already have 9 cells and that was the 10th cell. I am sorry, but that was the 9th cell and the 10th cell would have to extend actually. So yeah, amazing puzzle. The end part was quite very tricky here, but very good one. I really enjoyed both of these puzzles. So I hope you enjoyed these puzzles and you got to know actually how to solve a Choco Banana puzzle. Thanks a lot Bakpao for such wonderful puzzles. I really enjoyed both of these puzzles and I hope you all enjoyed as well. Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.